Hello students, how are you and how's your study going on? I hope that you all will be fine staying home and doing your study at your home. On the behalf of Paramount Public School, today we are going to discuss summary of third chapter of book Hornbill named Discovery Tut. The saga continues. So are you ready to learn? Let's start with our topic. Discovering Tut. The saga continues is written by A.R. Williams. Firstly, we will discuss its introduction about this chapter is related. This chapter is regarded the last heir of the great pharaoh dynasty Tutankhamun. Pharaoh means a ruler in ancient Egypt, and his name was Tutankhamun. He died in his teenage after ruling for 9 years. His death gave birth to a mysteries. This chapter talks about all the possible mysteries, the curse, where his tomb is lying, his whole life, and finally his death. He was the last Egyptian king. Pharaoh is also known as the king or ruler, and he had ruled for 9 years and died in the teenage also. So maybe he was 11 or 12-year age when he sat on the throne, and he died in the 19th. So let's start with the summary. Tutankhamun was the last leader of the great pharaoh dynasty. He was young when he died. According to some people, his death was a murder. Number of people thinks about his death that there are number of reasons, but no one knows the real reason why Tutankhamun died so early. In the year 1922, his tomb was exposed means found out by Howard Carter, an archaeologist. Archaeologist, you know very well, that the person who discussed on the things of history. After 80 years, he was taken for the CT scan to solve the mystery of his life and death through a forensic reconstruction. After the death of 80 years, he was the first mummy who was done with the scanning. His father or grandfather, Amenhotep III, was a very powerful pharaoh ruler over a period of 40 years. It means his father and grandfather were very kind and powerful, and they ruled for 40 years. Moreover, his son Amenhotep IV succeeded him and initiated the strongest period in the history of Egypt. His son was also so much powerful and brave, so he also prepared his place in the history of Egypt. His name changed to Akhenaten, which means servant of Athens. He changed the religious capital also from Thebes to Amarna. Later, he attacked Amun, a god, ruined his images, and shut his temples. Firstly, the all Egyptian kings worshipped the god Amun, but the Tut has taken the change in his religion. He changed his name into Akhenaten and means servant of Athens, and he also destroyed the temples and images of god Amun and shut his temples also. Another mysterious ruler thrived him who died very soon. Tutankhamun sat on the power and ruled for 9 years. Then when Tut's mummified body was found, he had lots of gold and wealth with it. Carter got him after so many years. After conducting the research on the treasure, he planned to examine his 3 nested boxes. Nested means filled boxes of several things. Many parts of the treasure in the tomb were already misplaced. It means thieves have broken out in their tomb earlier and they have taken away lot of treasure from these boxes. His tomb was found rock cut 26 feet under the ground, which also had some wall paintings. His tomb was also in the rock cut and it was 26 feet under the ground, it like a basement, and also have some wall painting. It reveals that he was suppressed in the months of March or April. Some other things, students, you come to know in the chapter that wild celery, some flower petals show that these flowers are grown in the month of March or April. So they taken the idea that his tomb, King Tut was died in the month of March or April and buried here. One of the coffin put Carter into trouble. There was three nest coffins. The gums used to paste Tut to the lowest of the solid gold. His coffin was made up of the solid gold and his body was covered with some type of gum, and the body was pasted to that solid gold. Coffin was stuffing enough that made it impossible to displace. He put the box in the sun for numerous hours so that the resins lose up, but that didn't work. At last he removed the adhesive. Adhesive means something gums like, with the chisel and hammer. Chisel is a sharp object. Carter sensed he didn't have any other choice than cutting the mummy from limb to limb, otherwise thieves would have robbed the gold and the treasure. His men now first removed the head of the mummy. Then they cut off each and every joint to remove it from its solid gold coffin. After the process of removing all the body parts, they placed it on the layer of sand. They kept the parts in a wooden box now and placed it at the original place where it was, but now they kept it into the wooden box. Earlier his body was kept into a coffin made of solid gold. Later in January 2009, the body was taken for a CT scan, which takes hundreds of x-rays and generates a 3D image. That night, after the scan, the workmen passed his body from the tomb into a box. They went through the ramp and stairs and lifted the body on a hydraulic trailer. Hydraulic, you know that, the trailer which works on the water lift, that was holding the scanner. Here the scanner, CT scanner, was held. The scanner suddenly stopped working and the process of CT scan stopped. Actually the body was full of mud because they kept it on the sand. That's why when they do the scanning of the body, the fans due to sand got stuck. After the use of a pair of spare fans, the scan was finally completed. Here a guard also nervously joked that the Pharaoh's curse is that death or misfortune will fall on them who disturbed him from his sleep. So people got nervous here also. After 3 hours, they transferred his body back to his tomb, where his body is now resting in the peace after doing the all other scans. And it is very interesting fact that there was nothing wrong found in his body also. And so the mystery of his death doesn't reveal any time. Conclusion. To conclude, Discovery Tut, the saga continues. Summary tells us that Tutankhamun, also known as Tut, was a brave ruler who of the great Pharaoh dynasty. He died at mysterious death and is resting in his peace in his tomb now. So student, I have mentioned some words of vocabulary also here. Thank you. Thanks for watching.